ultimately what I started learning to do was make small steps, right? I knew where my end goal wanted to be. And part of my past, I was always just able to look at that end goal. And I never really had to look at the steps that it actually took to get there. Because I never really had to try all that hard for these steps. They were always just sort of, I was able to make leaps and bounds, regardless of what I was trying to do. And I had to start looking at all these small little steps and trying to figure out, the best way for me to reach my goal. And that these small little steps were obviously going to be the huge piece of that. I mean, sometimes these goals at this point were so lofty, they were beyond the clouds, sort of thing. And that was the part that really allowed me to help focus on these smaller steps moving forward and just continue to, I went out and hit 10 golf balls today and, really maybe only hit 2, but, it was progression. And it was that constant of just knowing that moving forward and was going in the right direction. And ultimately with that, sport started to really take off for me. Golf came back and I was fortunate enough to play in the Canadian National Amputee Open. And that was a very big confidence boost for me. It was something that I sort of went, wow, there's a lot out there for me still. At that point, this was, still a few years ago. In the adaptive world, you have some weird things that happen with sports. You'll have people chase you down in malls and airports and whatever, right? They'll see you walking with a prosthetic. And, I had somebody chase me down at the Talisman Center here in Calgary and just, hey, have you ever done cycling? And this was one of these things that obviously after my accident, I never even put, a thought into, trying to ride a bike with one leg. Like how is this actually going to work? But ultimately, they got me out to this, they got me out to a camp and, off I sort of went with it. And it was something, I started really seeing the amazing ability of all these other athletes that are around me and their ability to adapt and to step outside their comfort zone and try something new. Because I'll tell you, I don't know if any of you have ever done any cycling in a velodrome before. Do you guys know what that is? There's nothing scarier than riding behind a motorbike at like 40, 50 kilometers an hour, and your job is to get as humanly close to that back tire as possible so that you're getting a maximum amount of draft from that bike so that you're having to reduce your workload. And if you want to talk about taking somebody outside your comfort zone, that was, arguably one of the scariest things that I did post-accident, because it is something that the human brain and human body just do not want to do. When you start moving that quick on a bike, and especially for me, you just start having a flood of different emotions and ideas of what could happen if you crash at this point. And, unfortunate enough for me at that point, I developed, enough willpower to push through it. I spoke about being accident prone. Well, that happened again, cycling. Unfortunately, it wasn't a crash at least, but I ended up just absolutely blowing up my knee in a training camp, and that sort of brought an end to my paracycling career. But at that point, I realized that hey, I'm going to be able to go out and do whatever I want to do. I got back into snowboarding. I was the first Canadian to buy a snowboarding prosthesis, and got back out there. And again, that was another whole journey in itself. Because you're out there on the hill, nobody knows that you're missing a leg. Finally, I actually just cut the ski leg off my pants because at least people can see it. I'm pretty good out there now on it.